Well, thank you for a whirlwind tour of this interesting intersection between COVID and HIV, which has probably highlighted for a lot of us some very specific questions and located some of our previous work and research. And it's fascinating to see that many of the drivers of the COVID response are people who we all know from HIV. We can't leave our AIDSImpact style behind. And so unbeknownst to everybody, we've had a graphic artist sitting in on all the talks. And we've tried to recap and capture the talks by getting a visual. And we hope that these visuals will help people remember and pin some of the core issues. And of course, these will be available on the website. But looking into them, I think for me, they really do tell the story. Michelle really giving us such a high level overview that no one's safe until we're all safe. And, you know, looking at a very important thing about us not losing interest once it becomes only a global South issue. And also reminding us of the great gains that were made in HIV and how these could be used to change and drive the future. Let's see the next one, please. Here we see somebody trying to make some sense of the enormous data that Caroline presented us. And I think that to us is a burning question. Do people with HIV fare differently? Or are they the same people? What are their COVID outcomes and what are their HIV outcomes? And she introduced us to the concept of dark data, perhaps linking us to the stellar and issues around our environment that we need to be taking into account. Next, when we look at Jenny's talk, our artist has really picked up some of the interesting things about this provision and a wonderful example of setting it up in 5 centres and really an important message from HIV that should resonate everywhere, that we must remain person-centred. And this whole idea of if you co-design with patients and clinicians, how well you can do. And lastly, on the last slide, please, we had a tour de force looking at higher level strategy from Lucy, where she really showed us how we can think in unison on these 2 pandemics and how it's not sequential, how we learn together. And this whole idea of multi-solvers, I think, might be one of the key messages that we take away today.